So, we spent a few weeks in Switzerland in June. We've visited Switzerland a few times. It's an amazing destination if you love dramatic nature. Beautiful places to see. But it can be really expensive, especially for slow travelers wanting to hang around for a while. But it's really worth visiting if you can swing it and you like the mountains. This video will run down some of the pluses and minuses of visiting Switzerland, some of the locations that we like the most, and give you some tips to make your trip more enjoyable and less costly.
As usual, please like this video and subscribe. We're going to be moving in a different direction on future videos, focusing more on travel planning and logistics. You may like it. So, first of all, one of our main takeaways about our trip to Switzerland is the cost. It's expensive. We kept joking about throwing more cash onto the money bonfire throughout our trip, but we tried not to let it impact our enjoyment.
We usually rent apartments in destinations where we're going to stay 3 days or more, and when we bring our daughter and need 2 bedrooms. For this trip, these were at least $300 or more each night. The hotels we stayed at were a bit more reasonable, about $150 or more per room. Restaurant meals ended up being about $30 to $50 per person per meal.
So if you want to save some money, get yourself an apartment and then go to the grocery store, and you can make a lot of your own meals.
Tourist attractions, such as cable cars or cog rail trains to places like the Jungfraujoch, can be really expensive, so you need to plan those out and select what's most important to you, and see what type of discounts you can get, like buying rail passes. Our second big takeaway is the stunning natural beauty of the country. That's why we come back. Places like the Berner Oberland are beautiful. Lauterbrunnen and the massive mountains around it are amazing. The photos don't do it any justice. If you like that kind of terrain, Switzerland should be on your bucket list of places to visit, even for a short trip. A third takeaway is that Switzerland is really set up well to handle tourists. The train system is excellent, so you can get pretty much anywhere you need to go quickly with minimal hassle. For U.S. tourists, English is spoken just about everywhere. It's clean, safe, and civilized. But that contrasts with our fourth takeaway. If you're planning to go during tourist season, in prime summertime, it seems like the system for tourists is being overwhelmed. The crowds of international tourists are having an impact that may require Switzerland to upgrade its infrastructure to handle the flood of visitors.
That suggests you may have a better experience if you travel during the shoulder seasons when you can avoid the summer crowds. But overall, we think that Switzerland is a wonderful place to visit. We highly recommend it.
So we fly from the U.S. East Coast, and there's a lot of direct flights to Zurich. The airport is large and modern.
A real nice feature about the Zurich airport is that it's built with hotels and restaurants just outside the terminal. We stayed at a really nice Hyatt place on our last night and just walked right across the road to get to the terminal for our flight out.
Zurich is a small city, but it's worth staying for a few days to look around and get in sync with the Swiss vibe. We rented an apartment. Rate was around $330 a night. 2 bedrooms, kitchen, balcony, next to a really large co-op grocery store, and close to a tram stop. We liked the museums, the outdoor coffee shops. We took a cruise on Lake Zurich and visited the chocolate factory. Cruises on the lake are free if you have a Swiss rail pass. So here's a tip. Research travel passes and get one that matches your agenda. Zurich is centrally located and the country has a great rail system, so you can reach most destinations quickly and conveniently. There's a number of types of travel passes that cover the entire country. Half-fare cards, cards for specific types of trains up the mountains, so it can take some research to get the right combination for your needs. There's a number of videos that discuss the options and how to optimize them for your needs, so we won't go through that here.
These passes can save you some money for train travel and visiting attractions, but just as important, they'll save you time. You can just get on the train or cable car and go, or just enter the museum without having to wait in the ticket line.
Also, be sure to load the free SBB mobile app on your phone. The SBB app shows the real-time status of trains and trams. It's critical for making rail trips and connections. It can precisely map out your trip from where you're standing to your destination. The trains are reliable, modern, and clean, with great views, but driving in Switzerland's a lot of fun too. Amazing tunnels through the mountains, winding roads through the forests, beautiful valleys that you can see up close. So renting a car is a great option. It can expand your range and take you to places that the trains don't service.
One thing to keep in mind when you're traveling through the countryside in Switzerland is that businesses typically close on Sundays. That restaurant you wanted to visit on Sunday may not actually be open. We found out the hard way about that.
So Lucerne is about a half an hour from Zurich. We only spent a day looking around on our way to Mürren, but it's worth a stop. Just wander around, get lunch on the side of the lake, maybe take a lake cruise. The next stop on the way west is Interlaken. That's where you'll transfer trains to go to Bern or the Lauterbrunnen Valley area. Interlaken's a larger town with a lot of amenities such as hotels, restaurants, and shops, but we prefer staying up in the mountain villages. The Lauterbrunnen Valley is our favorite destination in Switzerland. It's the one you see all the photos of. Beautiful valley surrounded by cliffs around 3,000 feet high, surrounded by mountains that go up to 13,000 feet, waterfalls cascading from the cliffs, chalets and farmhouses dotting the landscape, cable cars, trails, glaciers. It's on the bucket lists of millions of people, which becomes apparent when you're waiting for a train or a cable car during the summer tourist season. So plan ahead. Make sure you book your attraction tickets and special transportation in advance before they sell out.
Try to book your tickets to attractions early in the day when they're not as crowded, or travel in the shoulder season if you can.
Just above Lauterbrunnen is a small village perched on the ridge called Mürren. It's a car-free village that you reach using a cable car and then a small train. It has some hotels, a number of apartment rentals, a few restaurants and shops, and a small co-op grocery store for people staying in apartments or packing a lunch for a hike. We rented a 2-bedroom apartment for around $400 a night. It's right on the main street, a short walk from everything, including a small co-op grocery store. Very spacious, comfortable beds, well-equipped kitchen, great for slow travelers. But slow travelers may want to wait for the shoulder seasons like May or October, when you can get an apartment starting around $5,000 a month or so. The views of the mountains are amazing in Mürren. There's hiking and ski trails for all levels of fitness. We hiked trails that were generally pretty flat. The adventurous can hike along the cliffs using tethers connected to cables. Our daughter took a tandem paraglider flight to the valley floor. You can catch a cable car to visit the Schildhorn Peak just above Mürren. That's around 10,000 feet tall, with views of the surrounding mountains and glaciers. The building at the top of the peak is where portions of the 007 movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, was filmed. Amazing views if you can handle the altitude. Across the valley are the Monk, Jungfrau, and Eiger Mountains. The Jungfrau has a cogwheel train that goes up to the Glacier ice field at the top. There's a restaurant and shops, some exhibits, you can walk out on the ice. But as with everything in Switzerland, it's expensive, over $200 a person, and crowded. We bought our tickets in advance, and the trains were sold out the day we visited.
But that ended up being an awful experience for my daughter and myself. We couldn't handle the altitude. It's about 13,000 feet, so we both started feeling dizzy and nauseous and thought we were going to throw up. So we basically ran through the facility and went back to leave and headed down on the next train that we could. And did I mention that these tickets are $200 a piece times 3 people? We weren't too happy about wasting that much money.
On previous trips, we spent time in Bern. The Old Town area is a UNESCO site with lots of history.
We were lucky to visit Bern during World Cup season, and we had a great time watching World Cup games at beer gardens outside on large projection TVs.
For this trip, we wanted to take the Glacier Express train across the country. It's an 8-hour ride through the mountains that leaves from Zermatt and ends up in St. Moritz. So we traveled to Zermatt to do some hiking for a few days before we caught the train. We found an apartment for around $400 a night. Large, modern, comfortable, good kitchen, not far from the central village with groceries and restaurants, and close to cable cars that take you up the mountains. Zermatt's a famous ski destination, surrounded by mountains, including the Matterhorn, but in the warmer seasons it has great hiking and nature. And since it's mostly a tourist town, it has a decent selection of restaurants, pubs, and shopping. It's a car-free village, and it's pretty small and walkable, unless your apartment is up the side of a hill. But you can catch electric taxis that will take you to and from the train stations or the center of the village. For our hikes, we caught cable cars up the mountains and then we walked back down to the village or to another cable car stop. The Glacier Express is a major tourist attraction. It's a train that travels through the mountains for an all-day trip. It's important for you to get your reservations months in advance to get the day and time that you need. These trains sell out. The cost is around $200 to $300 a ticket, but if you bought a Swiss travel pass, the train ticket is usually included for free, but you still need to make a separate reservation for your trip that's around $50. For us, the trip was a bit disappointing since we'd been on many Swiss train rides with great views of the mountains already, and it was summertime.
The Glacier Express is likely more impressive during the winter when the mountains are all covered in snow. But if you like nice trains and traveling through the mountains, you may find it worth it. Another takeaway we had from this visit is that next time we go to Switzerland, we're going to try to get off the beaten path and go to some smaller, more out of the way places. Rent a car and go to smaller villages, places that are off the tourist track that are just as scenic but less crowded. Maybe we can stay longer and do some longer hikes. So, like this video and subscribe. We're going to be moving in a direction focusing more on travel planning and how to optimize your experience in specific countries. You may like it. Thanks for watching.